Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Hadley Books channel, where today I want to discuss a couple books that I've been reading recently, that I finished reading recently, a couple books that I plan to read in the recent future, and also I'm going to do a book haul, my very first book haul for you guys as well. So I hope you sit back and relax, and I hope you enjoy. Welcome back. So the very first book I want to discuss with you, or talk about, is the Kiss Quotient by Helen Hoang. And this is a series, I believe it's the second book in the series. I've read another book in the series called The Heart Principle, and I really enjoyed that book. One thing I really enjoyed about Helen Hoang's stories is that she picks a character that has a neurological disorder, whether it be Asperger's or Down syndrome or whatever it may be, and she writes them in different situations and trying to find love in different situations. And this one follows I believe it's Stella Lang, who has Asperger's disease, and Michael, who is a escort, and she's out on a mission to develop good dating skills and good she just wants to get better with relationships. So she wants to go test out, she wants to go practice a relationship. So she goes on this escorting website, and she finds this guy named Michael who's willing to teach her a couple things in the bedroom as well. So she is very nervous, but they decide to go meet up one night. And Michael thinks it's going to be a one-night stand because that's what he does with his business. But, of course, Stella is knowing that it's a one-time thing, but wanting to continue because she wants to practice on this one guy to get really comfortable before moving on to a serious relationship with somebody. So she has somebody in mind that she wants to have a relationship with, but she's too nervous to. So she wants to find a practice boyfriend first. So they go on this date. They go back to the house, and they realize, Michael soon realizes how nervous she is. And he becomes very patient with her, very understanding of the situation. He kind of doesn't understand the whole backstory yet, but he understands that she has a task to do or a plan in mind. So they go, and long story short, they decide to keep this thing going. So he's willing to practice with her and be her fake boyfriend for a while, and one thing turns into another, and so on and so forth. But I really appreciate the male character in the story, Michael, because he is incredibly patient, incredibly understanding. We learn that he does have a person in his life, whether it's a cousin or a friend of his that has Asperger's disease as well. So he soon realizes that might be the case in this situation, even though Stella's not fully upfront with him. And so he's just very understanding and very comforting, and they go very slow, and it's by her standards and not by his standards. So, and we realize that soon Michael has his own flaws as well. So her trying to understand that Michael has his own flaws and she has her own flaws and everything like that. I really just enjoyed that book in general. I gave that 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. So that is a highly recommended book. The next book I want to talk about is A Good Girl, Bad Blood. And this follows Pip, who is... Now, this is the second book in the Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. This is Good Girl, Bad Blood by Holly Jackson. And this is a sequel to the Good Girl's Guide to Murder. And in the Good Girl's Guide to Murder, Pip sets out to investigate a long time missing persons case, murder investigation thing. It was solved by the town a while back when it first happened. It was suspected that her boyfriend, the victim's boyfriend, had killed her because he committed suicide. But so now, that was, the long story short was that her boyfriend, was the one that killed her. But however, that was not the case, and she sets out to find out who actually, committed the crime. So, as part of her, I think one of her school projects, she sets out to do that. As part of the investigation, she starts this podcast, the Good Girl's Guide to Murder podcast, going through and detailing her investigation and everything, and it kind of explodes into this big phenomenon around town. And things start happening, and she starts becoming the center of attention and everything like that. And it gets kind of overwhelming for her at times. And so at the end of the book, she determines that she's not going to go and do these types of things anymore because it just got too overwhelming. However, we have this book now. So this book is detailing the missing persons case of Jamie Reynolds, who is the older brother of one of their classmates, one of Pip's classmates, Connor. So she learns that her friend's brother is missing, so she's like, I'm not gonna go investigate. It was too much the first time. I'm done with that kind of stuff. I don't want to do it anymore. However, her friend kind of entices her to, kind of wants her to, for his sake, his own personal sake, because he wants to find out what happened to his brother, but as well as other things. So she decides to set out to do a season 2 of the Good Girl's Guide to Murder to investigate this disappearance, Jamie Reynolds' disappearance. And she soon realizes that it is not as hard, it is not as easy as it may have seemed. There's a lot of twists and turns. This is sort of a high schooler, young adult type of book, type of thriller book. However, I think for the genre and the grade level it's at, I think it is a perfect book. It doesn't get too gory. It's not a gory book by any means. There's a lot of twists and turns, a lot of clues, a lot of different characters that you have to keep straight. But it was definitely a thrilling book, nonetheless. And it keeps you captivated all the way through. So I definitely highly recommend that book. I had just finished this book last night, so I have not written a book review yet on it, but I plan to have that up for tomorrow. So you can check that out tomorrow morning on my blog. The next book that I plan on reading for the month of June, it will probably be my last book for the month of June, is The Swan Song by Elin Hilderbrand. Now, I've been a big fan of Elin Hilderbrand just because I've read her winter series. I want to believe it's her winter series. That really captivated me throughout the whole series. I think it's a 3-book series. That book was, and one thing I really do like about Elin Hilderbrand is that all of her books are based on the Cape, in Nantucket, around Massachusetts somehow, or on an island near Nantucket or the Cape. So I really appreciate that. As a person who's lived in Massachusetts my entire life, I really like that. One thing is I've never been to the Cape, so reading books about the Cape kind of brings me to the Cape a little bit and gets to experience what it's like to be on the Cape, and the different locations to look out for and everything that I could probably, with all the books that I've read about from Elin Hilderbrand, I could probably create a whole trip surrounding the Cape and Nantucket and everything. But I plan on going there in the future, but probably not in the near future, so I'll be sticking to reading her books to get that experience. But this is about, it says, a longtime police chief, Ed Kapernash, is about to retire. A renowned island gossip blonde, Shannon, is going through a divorce. But when a $22 million summer house is purchased by the mysterious Richardsons, how do they make their money exactly? Ed, Sharon, and everyone else in the community are swept up in the high drama. The Richardsons throw lavish parties, flirt with multiple locals, flaunt their wealth with their yacht, and raise impossible hopes for everyone they meet. When their home burns down to the ground, and a vital employee goes missing, the entire island is up in arms. The last of Elin Hilderbrand's best-selling Nantucket novels, Swan Song, is a propulsive melody of glittering gatherings, sun-soaked drama, wisdom, and heart, featuring a colorful cast of characters, including the beautiful and timeless island of Nantucket itself. So, like I've said, she makes Nantucket the theme of all of her books. The setting, pretty much the setting of Nantucket is a character itself. So, I really enjoy it, and I feel like a lot of her books are kind of drama-packed, but has great characters nonetheless. So I really hope to get into that soon, possibly tonight or tomorrow morning, but that is definitely on my list. So I just want to go through a couple books that I've recently purchased. Next, these books they're on my TBR, but they're not on any particular order. On my TBR, they're just recent purchases that I wanted to show you. This one I've got from Barnes & Noble. It is called The American Daughters. It's from Piper Hugley. And it says here, at the turn of the 20th century, in a time of great change, two women separated by social status and culture, but bound by their expected roles as daughters of famed statesmen, forged a long-time friendship. Portia Washington, father Booker T. Washington, was formerly enslaved and spent his life championing the empowerment of Black Americans through his school, known popularity as the Tuskegee Institute. My apologies if I got that pronunciation wrong. And his political connections. Dedicated to her father's values, Portia contributed by teaching and performing spiritual and classical music. But a marriage to a controlling and jealous husband made fulfilling her own dreams much more difficult. When Theodore Roosevelt assumed the presidency, his eldest daughter, Alice Roosevelt, joined him at the White House. To try to win her father's approval, she eagerly jumped in to help him succeed. But Alice's political savvy and nonconformist behavior alienated as much as intrigued his opponents and allies. When she married a congressman, she carved out her own agendas and continued imposing women's rights and progressive causes. Brought together in the wake of their father's friendship, these bright and fascinating women help each other struggle through marriages, pregnancies, and political upheaval, supporting each other through their lives, supporting each other through their lives. A political, historical novel and revealing portrait, Piper Halligan's American Daughters vividly brings to life two passionate and vital women who nurture a friendship that transcended politics and race over a century ago. And so, sorry about that. So, this is a historical fiction book, and I've really I've really gotten into American or historical fiction books, especially when it comes to historical fiction, political-wise, political stories. I read The First Ladies, and that was a fantastic historical fiction book. It was based off a true story, that book was, and I'm not sure if this was, it might be actually based off a true story, this book as well. But, I think it just kind of brings to light different, relationships, through American history and everything like that. Kind of explains, different things, and I don't know, it kind of captivates me a little bit more than just, basic, history books in general. So I like to kind of read behind the scenes type of books, through American history and historical fiction and everything like that. The next book I am going to tell you about is a novel from Before We Were Innocent by Ella Berman. I just simply picked this up. I kind of just grabbed it off the shelf. I think I wanted to pick up at least 2 books one time when we were at the bookstore, and I was like, oh, why not? This was, I got it from an indie bookstore, actually in Newburyport, called Jabberwocky Books. One of my favorite bookstores, that I tend to go to. And this was a Reese Witherspoon Book of the Month choice. I'm not sure exactly for what month, but if she picked it, I assume that it is a very good book. I've never been kind of disappointed by her book choices. I've read several books from the Jenna Bush Hager book of the Month choices, and so I decided our book club books. So I wanted to start reading a little bit more of Reese Witherspoon's book club choices as well. So this one is A Summer in Greece for 3 best friends, ends in the unthinkable when only 2 return home. So this seems like a true crime thriller type of book, which I'm very much into. It says here, 10 years ago, after a sun-soaked summer spent in Greece, best friends Beth and Joni were cleared of having any involvement in their friends Avriline's death, but that didn't stop the media from ripping apart these teenage lives like vultures. While the girls were never convicted, Joni and Ever the Optimist capitalized on her newfound infamy to become a motivational speaker. Bess, on the other hand, resolved to make her life as small and controlled as possible so she wouldn't risk losing everything all over again. And it almost worked. Except now Joni needs a favor, and when she turns up at her old best friend's doorstep asking for an alibi, Bess has no choice but to say yes. She still owes her, but as the two friends try desperately to shake off their past, they have to face reality. Can you ever be an innocent woman when everyone wants you to be guilty? Sounds fascinating. Sounds captivating. I love it. I love it already. So, that's on my to-be-read list. This is, I'm finally getting to the Finlay Donovan series. This is the first book in the series. It's called Finlay Donovan is Killing It, by Elle Cosmino. And this is a thriller as well. This is a very popular series that is still going around, and I'm finally getting into it. I've heard a lot of great things about it. I know that there's several books in the series at this point, so I'm hoping to get caught up in the series. But it says, Finlay Donovan is killing it, except she's really not. As a stressed out single mom of two and struggling novelist, Finlay finds her life in chaos. When Finlay is overheard discussing the plot of her new suspense novel with her agent over lunch, she's mistaken for a contract killer and inadvertently accepts an offer to dispose of a problem husband. Finlay soon discovers that the crime in real life is a lot more difficult than its fictional counterpart, as she becomes tangled in a murder investigation. Fast-paced, deliciously witty, and wholeheartedly authentic in depicting the frustrations and triumphs of motherhood, Finlay Donovan is Killing It is the first in a brilliant new series from the award-winning author Ellen Cosmino. So, I cannot wait to get into that book. I love thrillers, suspense thrillers, anything like that. Sign me up for any type of thriller. I absolutely love it. The next book I want to, I know I'm kind of going through these fast, but I got a lot, I got two more books here that I want to discuss, and then we can call it a day. But, the next book is A Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. Now that I've finally finished the ACOTAR series, well, the ACOTAR books that are out for published books, I can jump into the Throne of Glass series. So this is Throne of Glass, and I cannot wait to get into this book. This is the second series. I think there's 3 book series that Sarah J. Maas has going on. The ACOTAR series, the Throne of Glass series, and then there's another series. And I have the book for that series, the very first book in that series as well. And I know that you can mix and match the books a little bit, because there's a lot of crossover with the characters. So, but I'm the type of reader that needs to finish one series before starting another. So even though the books are intertwined with each other, the characters are intertwined with each other, I still like to read them in order, or the best that I can. So I know that people, especially with the Throne of Glass series, have been reading the books out of order. But if there is a particular order that they should be read in, please let me know. so I can start getting those books in the order that they should be read. But I cannot wait to jump into this one and meet the characters in this world and see if there's any crossover with the ACOTAR series. So I absolutely cannot wait for that. That's on my docket very soon as well. But finally, we got to the last book that I want to discuss with you, and that is The Inmate by Freida McFadden. This is my very first Freida McFadden book, and I know that it's a long time coming. I had a lot of mixed feelings because there's been a lot of mixed reviews about Freida McFadden in the past. So I was kind of leery about giving her a try, but I said, everyone's worth a try. So let's pick one up and see where it takes us. And I know that she's very known for her thriller books, and I cannot turn down a thriller book. Sorry, can't. So that's why I decided to go pick this up. And also, I know that this might not be the first book that people decide to pick up from hers, but I figured why not just pick up one book from her and see where it takes me. So, I'm willing to give her a couple tries. So let's see where this book takes us. The synopsis for this book is, the guiltiest people aren't always the ones behind bars. As a new nurse practitioner in a maximum security prison, Brooke Sullivan is taught 3 crucial roles. 1. Treat all prisoners with respect. 2. Never reveal any personal information. And 3. Never ever become too friendly with the inmates. But nobody knows that Brooke has already broken the rules. Nobody knows about her inmate connection to Shane Nelson, one of the penitentiary's most notorious and dangerous inmates. They certainly don't know that Shane was Brooke's high school sweetheart, the star quarterback, the golden boy who's serving a life sentence for a series of grisly murders. Or that Brooke's testimony was what put him there. But Shane knows. He knows more than anyone, and he will never forget. The Inmate is a propulsive, mind-bending thriller about how we define guilt and who has to pay for it. From the New York Times bestseller, Freida McFadden. Cannot wait. I'm down with that, just that premise. Yes. Sign me up. So, that is it. Those are the books that I have, that I've read, I've recently read, that I want to read, and that couple books that I've recently picked up at the bookstore as well. So I hope you guys have a great week ahead, and remember that the best leaders are readers, and have a good one. Thanks. Bye.